The 6th U.S. President, John Quincy Adams, once said, "Always vote for principle. Though you may vote alone, you may cherish the sweetest reflection that your vote is never lost." We'll help you find that vote tonight with any luck. Hello and welcome to the Eagle Country 99.3 and Dearborn County Chamber of Commerce debates with Dearborn County Chamber President and CEO Eric Kranz. I am Eagle Country 99.3 News Director Mike Perleberg, and we are coming to you live from the Eagle Country 99.3 studios in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Abraham Lincoln at one time proclaimed that if the politicians and leaders of parties were as true as the people, there would be little fear for the peace of that country would be disturbed. And that's what the elections are about. Your opportunity to hold your elected leaders accountable, reward them, or choose a new man or woman for the job. Most election seasons, we at Eagle Country 99.3 partner with the Chamber to bring you these debates. Eric, this is yet another valuable service that the Dearborn County Chamber of Commerce works to provide not only to its members, but in this case, to the citizens of all Dearborn County.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for doing this with us and for putting it together, for hosting it this year. And also, if nothing else, it's always great that you treat all the listeners to endless presidential quotes during these events. So, again, well done.
They put it more eloquently than I ever could. So, yeah, just best practices
I'm sure you sound better saying them.
Perhaps. I don't know if there's an audio recording of Abe Lincoln anywhere, but we'll just make that assumption.
Yeah, absolutely.
In 2018 in Indiana, it's a midterm election year. The first step towards selecting our new class of representatives in a variety of political offices is choosing which candidate we want from our preferred political party, namely the Democrat or Republican parties. Tuesday, May 8th, 2 weeks from tonight, is the primary election day. And tonight, we'll be focusing on the people hoping to earn elected office representing you in Dearborn County. Tonight's questions were devised by Eric and myself to ensure that the most pressing local issues will be discussed this evening. We may add any questions from listeners tonight if time allows. And if you want to, you can email your questions to news@eaglecountryonline.com for us to review. I would urge that if you want to know a candidate's thoughts on a specific issue that's not addressed tonight on this broadcast, they are, as far as I know, all approachable and would likely be willing to discuss your concerns face-to-face or through written communication. All right, and without further delay, let's go ahead and introduce our candidates. The first debate we'll be bringing you this evening won't be much of a debate because we only have one candidate in attendance, but that is Shane McHenry. He is one of the two Republicans running for the party nomination for Dearborn County Sheriff. And then following Shane's appearance, we will take a quick commercial break, and we will bring in the two Republican candidates for Dearborn County Council in District 3. That is Ryan Brandt, the incumbent, and Kevin Turner, his challenger. And we got some ground rules to lay out as well this evening, and we want to let you know about. In each case, candidates will begin with their self-introductions in alphabetical order by their last name. An exception is made in the Dearborn County Council race, where we will introduce the candidates by party first, then alphabetically. The order of answering the following questions will rotate with each question. Candidates will be timed in their answers. Candidates are not required to use all of that allotted time. Candidates who reach their allotted time may be granted a brief extension to finish their thought or point at the discretion of the debate moderators. Eric, you're serving as our timer this evening. Did you bring your stopwatch?
I did.
Good.
I did. I didn't bring the bell this time, though. We're close quarters. I figured if they go too long, I can just reach out and
you smack me or something.
Yeah, there you go.
The candidates must stick close to the
Do
subject.
Do it now before the election.
Yes.
And, yeah. Just in case, right?
Candidates, we do ask that they stick close to the subject of the question. If a candidate ventures away from the subject matter, the moderator, yours truly, or Eric, may ask them to return to the topic. Candidates may use notes or a script in delivering their response. They were not provided the questions until they walked in the door here at the Eagle Country Studios this evening, but we did give them at least a little time to kind of look over the questions and formulate their best answers. And like I said, we'll get on to the first debate now, and that is the Republican Party race for the nomination for Dearborn County Sheriff here coming up in the May 8th election, and that is Shane McHenry taking on Brad Schwing. And Brad Schwing not able to be in attendance this evening. He did send us a statement, and I'll go ahead and read that verbatim. I am unable to attend tonight's happening due to a previously scheduled campaign event. Even though radio coverage would have undoubtedly given my campaign more exposure, I always try to honor obligations to the best of my ability, and I do not feel comfortable canceling on people I committed to so many months ago. I will continue to post my thoughts on the issues at hand on my Schwing for Sheriff Facebook page, as I have done throughout my entire campaign. I want to thank Eagle Country for the invitation tonight and wish the best of luck to all the candidates in the upcoming Dearborn County primary election. And that's the conclusion of Brad Schwing's statement that he sent us earlier this afternoon. All right, and then on to the man that is in attendance. That is Shane McHenry, your Republican candidate for Dearborn County Sheriff. And Shane, we'll give you a minute to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. I first want to thank you guys for having us here tonight and allowing us the opportunity to share our thoughts with the general public and our listeners out there. I went to Indiana University. In between my sophomore and junior year, I decided to go through the police academy, and that kind of started my law enforcement career. Came back here in 2000 and was hired by the Aurora Police Department, worked there for about a year, and then was hired by the Sheriff's Department. Spent 2 years as a deputy with the Sheriff's Department, and then in June of 2003, I was promoted to detective and actually started the narcotics unit for the Dearborn County Sheriff's Department, which ended up being assigned to the Special Crimes Unit later when it was formed, as I was a founding member. And I spent 13 total years at the Sheriff's Department until I was hired as a investigator with the prosecutor's office 4 years ago, and also have spent time there doing investigative work. And also in the last 7 years, I've been a Dearborn County Commissioner, with the last 5 years being President of the Board of the Commissioners.
All right, thanks, Shane. We'll get on to our first question for you this evening. You have 2 minutes to answer. If you are elected, what issues or problems facing the Dearborn County Sheriff's Department would be your priority?
Mike, as I go out and talk to people, the big thing I hear, of course, is talking to people is attacking the substance abuse problem. And I say substance abuse problem because a lot of people want to talk about opiates, but it's just not always opiates anymore. Methamphetamine's really made a resurgence, and we're dealing with that problem every day. I think there's several ways we can do that. At the Sheriff's Department, we have to continue to be proactive. I'm a board member of the Indiana Drug Enforcement Association. We partnered with the Attorney General's office to form an interdiction units around the state, and what we did is help them with training, equipment, and things like that. And we have one of those teams here. It's a highway interdiction team, and we've had great success being proactive and addressing complaints using the highway interdiction team. I'd like to continue that and even possibly, build upon that and get more guys involved in that. And then also, I think a big issue that we have is we got to develop and maintain relationships with our community. Get out and really know what's going on. We have people all the time that are, talking about these issues, and each community is kind of different in Dearborn County. So I think it's very important to get out there and each community's problems. And I think a way that you can solve that is to assign deputies to particular districts so they get to know what's going on and they recognize things they see, if it's suspicious for a car to be at a certain business at a time. I mean, you just really get to know your people. And I think if you get to know them and you're able to address their needs, and then I think it creates a better relationship between the police and community, which in turn then likely they're more cooperative with you. And let's be honest, I mean, police work is hard. If the public really pays attention to what's going on and partners with law enforcement, it's very helpful in closing cases quickly.
Great. Thanks a lot, Shane, for answering that first question for us. And we'll turn it over to Eric Kranz, Dearborn County Chamber of Commerce, CEO and President, for our next question.
Thank you. And again, Shane, thanks for being here and participating. Much has been made about the arrest rates in Dearborn County. Many people are familiar with a 2016 report by the New York Times with the headline, "This small Indiana county sends more people to prison than San Francisco and Durham, North Carolina." Do you feel there is some change needed in local law enforcement? Why or why not?
As far as law enforcement goes, I mean, I think honestly we do a very good job. And really it's up to law enforcement to uphold the laws that the legislature passes in the criminal code. And, once somebody's arrested, then it's up to the prosecutor to prosecute the case and the judge to sentence them. So as far as law enforcement goes, it would be really hard for us to, short of stop doing our job, which I don't think is what the public wants, it would be hard to change. Now, can we be smarter with how we do things and how we charge things? I think there's some possibility of that. But I don't think anybody's wanting small-time offenders to get sent to prison for things. But people also have to be held accountable. And I think it's very important as we look with being a border county with Hamilton County, Ohio, I think they do a lot of catch and release over there, and then we end up getting their overflow here because when they come over and commit crimes, it's not catch and release. We hold people accountable for their crimes over here, and I think that's a good thing, and I think that's what helps keep our community safe. I mean, you watch the news, and there's always major crime, shootings, constantly overnight in the Cincinnati news, and for being as close as we are to Cincinnati, we don't have that all the time, and I attribute that to our tough laws, whether it be on most guys that are doing major drug dealing or crimes of violence, are offenders with criminal histories, and when they get caught over here, they're going away for a long time, and we just don't have a low tolerance like they do over there for whatever reason. So, like I said, I think our local law enforcement does a great job, and I would hate to see them change that because, at the end of the day, our job is to keep our community safe, and I think we've done a really good job of that.
Thinking back to that New York Times story, the first focus in that article was of a gentleman who got arrested here for, I believe, dealing some sort of drugs, and he received a 12-year sentence, as it was noted in the New York Times story, and then they kind of presented that information to an attorney from Cincinnati, and his response was something along the lines of 12 years. I've gotten people off for manslaughter shorter than that. And I think that's more of an indictment on the way law is done in Cincinnati, law enforcement and sentencing is done in Cincinnati than in perhaps Dearborn County, personally. All right, question number 3 for Shane McHenry. The sheriff's role is largely administrative, handling the budget, staffing, making sure the jail is running smoothly and safely. What do you believe makes you the most qualified candidate to take on those responsibilities, Mr. McHenry?
Well, obviously, with over 20 years of law enforcement experience, and in those roles, I've been a patrolman, I've been a deputy, and I've been a detective and an investigator. Well, as a detective, obviously, when you have something major happen and you show up on scene, you're kind of the guy in charge, and the responsibility falls on you for that case. So that does give you some supervisory experience because, you have to ask people and show leadership and let everybody know what they need to do on that scene and to help you. Also, my role as a commissioner has been very helpful in those. As many of you know, commissioners handle multiple departments underneath themselves, and you have to manage those departments. You have budgets for those departments. So when you have experience managing those multi-million-dollar departments, that's very helpful and because the sheriff's department's set up that way. They have, you're managing the road, you're managing the jail, you have court security, just a lot of different things going on underneath there. So you really need to have that management experience to be able to run that. I mean, a lot of people talk about it. It's like really running a small business. When you come to the sheriff's department, they have about 80 to 85 employees, $6.5 million budget. So I think that's just a tough leap for somebody to make who has never had any supervisory experience or any experience with that. And then I've heard my opponent say that he can learn that as if he goes to sheriff school if elected, or he can learn as you go. And I just don't know that would be tough. I mean, just being in the management roles I've been in my years of experience, I think that just really gives me a leg up and makes me the most qualified candidate because I've had several years of experience with law enforcement and administrative at this point.
Great. Thanks a lot, Mr. McHenry. And next question coming from Eric.
Yeah, and this is, when we do these and we, we're focused on the Chamber of Commerce. We'd like to see, we'd like to see every leadership position, trying to help out our businesses and our employers here in the county. So, our employers right now are struggling to find employees who can clear sort of the most basic hurdles of passing a drug test. This goes back to the overarching and overall issue of drugs here in the county and the region. So what do you think? And if you were elected, what would the sheriff's office do to help with that situation?
Well, I mean, it's definitely in my leadership role as commissioner, I've heard a lot of employers talk about keeping employees or even finding enough to hire, and a drug test is an issue. And I mean, we just see it in probation, the constant, even though they're on probation, they struggle not to fail drug tests. So I think it just comes back to like I talked about in the beginning, really building community relationships with people, having employers being able to reach out to law enforcement to help. We currently have the JCAP program in the jail, which was started by Judge McLaughlin, I believe in 2007. So it's not, I mean, we're just not like arrest people and throw away the key. With the JCAP program, you know, they get treatment in jail. They learn life skills. Also, Judge Cleary in Superior Court 1 has the veteran court and drug court. So basically, just keep supporting the sheriff as long as he keeps supporting the JCAP program within the jail, looks at ways to work with the court system, maybe even expanding that program. Like I said, veteran court and drug court, just giving these people the opportunity to, you know, get help while they're in there. So hopefully when they come out and get to these employers, we're producing more people ready to go into the workforce. Also, as we talk about that, you know, I think you look at maybe other programs with education within the jail and just learning like life skills, coping skills, because I think that's the biggest problem for those folks is they're in jail. They may not have a good family system like a lot of us have been used to. So when they get out of jail, they really don't have anything because they've lost about everything while they've been in jail. And that's not taking responsibility off of them, but you know, when they get out, they really need some kind of support system. And so if something goes wrong, that their first thing they don't want to do is turn back to drugs. And I think helping them get a good job, and you know, even I see people all the time that I've arrested, and I may not even recognize them, and they'll come up and shake my head and say, "Hey, you remember me?" I'm like, "Not sure. You arrested me 10 years ago." And I appreciate that. You know, you probably saved my life, because if I'd still be on drugs, you know, I may not be here today. And I just think, you know, treating those people like they're just everyday people. Just because they made a mistake, we don't need to hold that against them forever. And if we could help them, be mentors to them, and put them on the right path, I think we could really and help employers with getting a better workforce.
This is the Eagle Country 99.3 and Dearborn County Chamber of Commerce candidates debates for Dearborn County candidates in contested races coming up in the May 8th primary election. We're joined right now by the one of the Republican candidates for Dearborn County Sheriff. That is Shane McHenry. Brad Schwing, unable to be in attendance this evening. That is his opponent. Mr. McHenry, what are your thoughts on programs meant to reintroduce felons into the workforce, kind of on the same token as what we were talking about a moment ago? If you're generally supportive, do you see ways in which those types of programs or efforts can be expanded?
That's another tough one. I mean, just to be honest, that's not a question that you would expect to hear as sheriff, but I think it goes along the same lines of what I talked about before. You know, young people especially make mistakes, and other people, you know, they get on the wrong path and make mistakes. And sometimes I've heard employers say that some of these felons are really they're better workers. I mean, they're skilled people that, you know, get in trouble for different things. And, you know, we just got to, like I said, continue to not only arrest people, but we got to find ways to really help them. And, you know, we do have some workforce programs within the jail. We have work release, and then we do have the road crew, which goes out and helps nonprofits with certain things. They do a lot of work for churches, Paul's, just to give a couple examples. And I think as the sheriff's department, one way we could really help with reintroducing those felons to the workforce, it all comes back to building community relationships. You know, if you can build a good relationship with an employer, and they know they can come to you and ask for recommendations, maybe about how somebody handled themselves while they've been in jail or been on some of these programs we have, and you can maybe give them a little help to get that job, at least to, you know, get their foot in the door to prove to these employers that they can work. And I think the more you build on that and the more success stories you get, the more employers are going to trust that. And like I said, I plan to be a very active sheriff in the community. I think I've done a pretty good job of that as commissioners. I really enjoy, you know, showing up to fundraisers and just helping nonprofits and, you know, building relationships with other county officials, our local leaders, and I plan to continue that. And I think through that I can build relationships with employers to get them better employees.
Great.
Go ahead, Eric. You got one more.
Yeah, last question here, and then we will let you run. What new or revised programs or initiatives, if any, do you anticipate putting in place if elected as sheriff?
One thing that's, you know, I've put a lot of thought into, and this is a tough one, is sometimes I don't think we take enough care of our own. And I mean our officers, even going further, maybe our first responders. I mean, where else in America do you have a job where you could go to work, you're there for an hour, you get called to a fatal accident, a murder, a suicide investigation, and you're there all day? You know, you may see a child that's been killed, victims of terrible crimes, and then, when you go home and it's time to clock out, you pull into your driveway, suddenly you're supposed to be, a husband, or if you're a female officer, a wife, a father, and there's really no time to just really process what happened to you. And that's a lot of stress for our guys and our ladies to go through. So one thing I really want to do is focus on the mental and physical health of our officers and give them the opportunity to, talk with people and really pay attention to what they're going through every day. And if they're going through a tough situation, maybe we need to, pull them off the road for a day. Just give them an opportunity to kind of go through, process what has happened. And I've talked to a lot of ministers throughout the county that are willing to volunteer their time to talk to our guys. And I think that's something that we can do that's very important. And also looking at housing inmates for other counties, I think it can be an important revenue source for the county to put money back into the county general fund. And also it would give us the potential to hire more help in the jail and even on the road, or maybe even an important thing that we're all talking about right now with resource officers. Get them resource officers in school. That's really going to be tough in this county because we have Sunman, Dearborn, and South Dearborn have so many outlying schools and not enough resource officers, in my opinion. So I think if we could get that done, and the sheriff has done a nice job of getting ready for that. It's just not been implemented yet, but I think I could implement that, and it could be very helpful to the county.
Great. All right, that's all the questions we have for Shane McHenry, Republican candidate for Dearborn County Sheriff. Shane, any final closing statement you might like to make before we let you go?
All right, thanks, Mike. It's a little bit disappointing that this is the fourth opportunity that I've had to be somewhere where my opponent has been invited to, and he's not been able to make it. I do feel, the sheriff is really an out front leadership position, and it would have been nice if Mr. Schling would have been here tonight to talk about these same issues that I have. But obviously that's not going to happen, and like I said, it's been multiple other occasions. But with that being said, I think you need to be able to get in front of people and be articulate and explain things. And I just think, with my experience of being a community leader for the last several years, I believe I've had I've worked hard to be a successful law enforcement person because I really care about our community. I care about our victims of crimes that I've investigated. And I would just appreciate everybody's support on May 8th.
All right, Shane McHenry, thank you very much.
Thank you,
He
Shane.
is one of your two Republican candidates running in the May 8th primary election for Dearborn County Sheriff. His opponent, Brad Schwing, again, unable to appear this evening. And we got more of the Dearborn County Chamber of Commerce and Eagle Country 99.3 debates coming up. After this commercial break, we'll bring in the candidates for Dearborn County Council District 3 on the Republican ticket. That's Ryan Brandt and Kevin Turner. You're listening to Eagle Country 99.3 debates live tonight on Eagle Country 99.3 and EagleCountryOnline.com.
Melissa Murphy here with Eagle Country 99.3, your hometown radio station, along with Barney from Car Country in not only Aurora, but also in
Harrison, Ohio.
So glad you made that announcement live on our auction today. I am so excited for you. Yes, 2 locations is a huge thing.
Definitely huge. And Melissa, we're here to take care of the public. We're here to help the public buy a car. It's a serious thing. It's one of the largest purchases people's going to make in their lives. And we're blessed to have 2 locations. Harry said, Barney, what can we do to help more people? Crazy Harry, we need another place. So we went out and we found one. And our guaranteed credits doubled. Our strength is doubled. Our inventory's doubled. You hear us say, let us show you the difference. Guys and gals, I'm telling you, this is the difference. You need to get down here and see me.
2 locations, and the one in Harrison will be opening when?
May 1st is our projected date. I don't see a problem with it. So get ready, guys and gals. We're getting ready to get big.
And until then, see Barney and the gang at Car Country in Aurora on Highway 50.
And don't forget, I'll send a guy to get you.
GEI Fluid Power is your authorized Parker Product Center. GEI, the one-stop shop for all of your hydraulic hoses, fittings, oil pumps, cylinders, valves, and pressure washer repairs. GEI also carries American-made taps and drill bits, plus American-made grade 8 nuts and bolts up to 1 1/2 inch. GEI Hydraulics is our specialty, not just a sideline. Your equipment in need of repair, bring it to us at 105 Lakeview Drive in Milan, or we can come to you. GEI Fluid Power, where your safety matters to us. Today, stop and thank God for all of your blessings.
On your mark, get set, go. Join us on May 12th at Batesville's Liberty Park for the Girls on the Run 5K. Proceeds from the race benefit Girls on the Run, an after-school program designed to teach young girls the importance of self-esteem and exercise. Sponsored by Margaret Mary Health, the 5K also serves as the grand finale for the girls who took part in the spring program. To register, visit us online at gotrofmmhealth.org.
Respect. It's more than a word. In the U.S. Army, it is one of our core values. Earned through selfless service to our nation and making a difference both at home and abroad. On the Army team, respect is earned daily. And now, in addition to earning respect, you may earn up to $40,000 in bonuses if you qualify. To learn more, visit goarmy.com/bonus or call 1-800-USA-ARMY. Paid for by the U.S. Army.
The second annual Cruisin' to a Cure for ALS in memory of Carlos Lawrence is Sunday, May 6th in downtown Lawrenceburg. Come out and see award-winning classic and modern cars, race cars, and bikes. Register the day of the show between 9 and noon. There will be door prizes and auction, food and live entertainment. All proceeds go to the ALS Association. The second annual Cruisin' to a Cure for ALS, downtown Lawrenceburg. Sunday, May 6th. Search Cruisin' to a Cure on Facebook.
Since 1974, Hidden Valley Golf Club has been one of the best-kept secrets in the tri-state and in golf. A secret is out. It's time to think spring. For a limited time, purchase a 10-round golf pass, including cart for Southeastern Indiana's premier private golf club for an incredible price. 10 rounds of 18 holes for just $300 or 10 rounds of 9 for just $175. Limit 1 per person. And when you decide you want to stay, the cost of the pass can be applied to full membership anytime before the end of 2018. Find out more at HiddenValleyLakeGolfClub.com. The secret is out.
New gear, new inventory. Lawrence Motorsports Auto Sales on US 50 in Aurora has completely restocked the lot. Cars, minivans, SUVs, trucks, and more. If they don't have it, they can find it. A safe, reliable, affordable vehicle for your family or first-time driver. Search Lawrence Motorsports Auto Sales on Facebook. Lawrence Motorsports Auto Sales on US 50 in Aurora.
Lawrence Motorsports Auto Sales, where we treat you like family.
These floors again?
Hola, señora. ¿Más margarita?
Yes, please. And Diego.
Sí.
No salt on the glass.
Sí.
Now that's the dream.
This is Amber from Amber's Clean and Sweep. Your time and your sanity are precious. Let us get your home looking the way you want while you do whatever you want. Call us for a free quote, 812-537-0249. You dream, we clean. Amber's Clean and Sweep.
Your hometown news station is your hometown radio station. Eagle Country 99.3.
Welcome back to the Eagle Country 99.3 and Dearborn County Chamber of Commerce Candidate Debates. I am Eagle Country 99.3 News Director Mike Perleberg, and Eric Kranz is also along with us as well as a co-moderator and timing our candidates' responses here this evening. We just heard from one of the Republican candidates for Dearborn County Sheriff. That was Shane McHenry. He's facing Brad Schwing in the Republican primary coming up May 8th. And we have 2 more Republicans coming up in a moment. For anybody out there maybe wondering where are the Democrats, well, there are no contested Democratic races in Dearborn County in the May primary. And for that reason, we just didn't invite any on. There are Democrats running for office, and they'll be on the ballot in November, certainly. And we'll probably more than likely, if we do a debate broadcast then, we'll be happy to have them on. But there just weren't any contested Democratic debates tonight. They all kind of advanced to the November general election by default, so we didn't think it'd be useful to have them in here. We wanted to focus more on the races that matter coming up in the May 8th primary, and one of those is the race for Dearborn County Council District 3 on the Republican ticket, Ryan Brandt and Kevin Turner, and they both join us in the Eagle Country 99.3 studios right now, and we'll ask them a series of questions, Eric and I, and Before we get to the questions, we'll begin with some brief introductions from each candidate. We'll start by alphabetical order by last name, and we'll start with Ryan Brandt. You are the incumbent, and if you would, go ahead and introduce yourself. You got a minute.
Thanks, Mike. My name is Ryan Brandt, and I am running for re-election for Dearborn County Council District 3. District 3 consists of Cedar Creek Township, all of Clay Township, all of Washington Township, all of Center Township, all of Hogan Township, and Sparta 3 Township. I would like to thank Mike Perleberg and Eagle Country 99.3, along with Eric Krantz and the Dearborn County Chamber for hosting this, giving us the time to explain what our viewpoints are, what I believe very important issues face our county. I'm a 1996 graduate of South Dearborn High School. I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps to serve my country. Began my law enforcement career in 1999 with the Dillsboro Police. I was promoted to police chief in 2006, where I currently serve. In 2014, I was honored to be selected by the Republican caucus to replace Maynard Barrett due to his untimely passing. I tell you, Maynard had very big shoes to fill. I was successful in the general election of 2014, where I kept my current council position against my now opponent in this primary. I have two beautiful daughters, Shelby and Ava, and currently live on a family farm, and I have a strong relationship with God.
All right, thanks a lot, Ryan. Kevin Turner, you have a minute to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kevin Turner, and I'd also like to be the Republican candidate for county council this fall in District 3. Currently, I'm employed as a sergeant and investigator with the Greendale Police Department. I've been with the Greendale Police Department since 2000. And my responsibilities include supervising all the patrol officers and also conducting major felony investigations. Prior to that, I was employed by Aurora Police Department from 1998 to 2000 as a reserve officer and dispatcher, and I also worked at the Dearborn County Jail. Also, I've worked for the Aurora Utilities, and because I believe highly in public service, in 1998 I joined the Aurora Fire Department, where I rose to the level of safety officer, which was the third in command of the fire department. Also founded the Dearborn County Fire Investigation Team, a group of volunteer fire investigators to become first response to investigate fires without the county. Also the law enforcement representative on the local emergency planning council, and many other things, which we'll get to later on in this broadcast.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. And our first question for these two this evening, we'll start with Kevin Turner. We'll have 2 minutes to respond, and then Ryan Brandt will be given an equal amount of time to give his response. For those who don't know, Indiana County Councils are the fiscal bodies of county government. What do you believe makes you the most qualified candidate to be one of the 7 people on that board controlling the county's purse strings?
Well, I believe I'm the most qualified candidate because I have the most varied experience throughout the different areas of government throughout the county. I've worked for the Aurora Utilities, I've worked for fire departments, I've worked for police departments. I have come in contact with the health department, animal control, the building department. Part of my duties with the fire department was to make sure that unsafe buildings were boarded up. I've worked with numerous city clerk treasurers, because I'm the primary grant writer for the fire department and also for the police department, this time with Dillsboro Fire Department. The other reason that I believe that I am the most qualified candidate is my church council experience. I've been on church council for the last 10 years, holding positions from vice chairman to elder, and we go directly with budgets, and budgets that almost in a microcosm mirror what's going on with Dearborn County right now. Lower revenues, lower giving, however, increasing costs, and also some capital improvement projects that some of the members wanted to have that we did not really need. I believe that I'm the person that is going to be the stalwart against the people who perhaps would like to go ahead and continue with these large capital improvement projects in the face of our declining revenue and give the on-the-ground experience, knowing what we need, not what we want. There's a lot of wanting around here. A lot of people see money in there and say, that money should belong to me. However, I can be that stalwart that says, now, wait a minute. I've seen all these different agencies. I've been through them. I know what they need, not what they want.
All right. Thank you, Kevin Turner and Ryan Brandt. I can repeat the question if you like, or you can just go ahead with your 2 minutes. All right. So the question, for those who don't know, Indiana's county councils are the fiscal bodies of county government. What do you believe makes you the most qualified candidate to be one of the 7 people on county council controlling the county's purse strings?
Well, Mike, I know that I'm the most qualified candidate. Began working with budgets over 13 years ago as a self-business owner. One of my mottos back then was let the hardworking people spend their money how they see fit, not how government sees fit. Being a successful business owner the last 13 years, I know what it's like for taxes to go up. I know what it's like for prices to go up. I think that we need to keep things online with our current budget. I've worked with the police budget as the police chief since 2006. I've also served on Dearborn County Council since 2014, and we have budgeted several major infrastructure projects. As my opponent says, these projects that we didn't need, I will disagree. These projects were very much needed, not only for the safety of our staff, the safety of our citizens, anyone who visited our courthouse, anyone who went to our jail, the inmates. These were needed projects. These aren't something that were funded without extensive research to make sure that everybody was taken care of.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ryan Brandt, for your response to that question. Next question for our Dearborn County Council District 3 Republican candidates. Dearborn County's budget is about, for 2018, $19.5 million, according to the Indiana Department of Local Government Finance. The budget funds operations ranging from emergency management and the jail to the courts and animal control. The budget amount has been going up in recent years. So what are some areas of the budget that you believe could perhaps use more funding and why? And we'll start with Ryan. You have 2 minutes to answer.
Thank you, Mike. That's a very important question. I think there are a lot of areas in the budget that could use more funding. However, with our current budget, without raising taxes, I don't see that we're going to be able to provide the same amount of service that we currently are. I believe the public safety issue, the jail and the deputies, we have some deteriorating roadways in Dearborn County that our highway department is tasked with fixing. Dearborn County maintains over 500 miles of roadway. Recently did receive a community crossing grant with $1 million match from county council to help fix these roads, to help fix these slips, these repairs. These are special projects. We have a lot of roads in dire need of repair, and county council is doing everything that we can to make sure that all these roads are taken care of. I'd also like to see a countywide EMS paramedic service implemented. It's awful hard for some departments. I see them struggle with volunteers. I think that our citizens deserve the best when it comes to being able to respond to an emergency.
Okay, Kevin Turner, you have 2 minutes to respond. I can repeat the question for you, or you can go right ahead.
Well, I'll go right ahead. One of the areas I think that we need to funding in and has been cut repeatedly over the definitely in the last budget. Our Emergency Management Area Association has been trying to get our county storm ready. $67,000 has been cut out of the budget each time to replace aging and upgrading sirens. They did fix the one in Dillsboro. The other ones, we had a tornado warning here not too shortly earlier this year where they didn't go off. And spoke to the emergency management director, and it was because the sirens were not operating properly because of their aging. That's a first line of defense there that we can work on. Another area where I see that we could use more funding is in the visitors and community the agency, and I'll explain that later why on down on in another question. The roadways, and I agree with my opponent there, the roadways do need more funding. Problem with the roadways, we have within the last 7 years have spent upwards of $22 million on infrastructure projects within Lawrenceburg. So that's $22 million we do not have for roadways. And that could be a higher amount. I know that the budgeted project for the courthouse was at $11.2 million, and it has cost overruns and so on and so forth. I'm certain has gotten that over top of it. There has been some times where some things have gotten down, but we need to be very careful on making sure that we don't do any more capital improvement projects, especially at that magnitude, without voter approval.
All right, thank you, Kevin Turner. We'll turn it over to Eric Kranz. He's going to ask our next few questions of our Dearborn County Council District 3 Republican candidates.
Yeah, and first off, thank you both for coming and participating here in the debate. I think it's important that you do make these appearances and make your opinions and your positions on these important issues known. So let's jump right in. I believe we're starting with Kevin here. Kevin, what are one or two areas of the county budget where you believe cuts can or should be made?
Well, first off, the county council has to investigate what areas need to be cut, and they are allowed to do so under Indiana Code. Indiana Code 36 to 3.7-5, subsection 6, says that they can conduct investigations into the county business for the purposes of correcting deficiencies. Our county council at this point meets 3 times a year, and then during August meets for budgeting things. And what I see is that they listen to the people that come in with their budget and speak to them about what they need. They're not going to each individual agency to find out what's going on. I don't think our county councilmen have been bad. I think they've been misled. And so to find our cuts, we need to go out and look in specific areas. For example, I see people being hired as special investigators with the prosecutor's office more and more and more. I've been a policeman for 20 years. I've never seen so many. Some of that money comes from the state, but where's that offsetting with the out of the prosecutor's office? We need to check those areas, find those areas through our investigative mandate through the state to find out what we need to cut.
Sure. Great. Thank you. Ryan, you need the question again?
Yes, please.
All right, Ryan, what are one or two areas of the county budget where you believe cuts can or should be made?
Well, Eric, I'm not really sure where any cuts could be made. I first want to address what my opponent said about the prosecutor's office and the special crimes unit and where they're hiring officers and getting funding for this. That is not taxpayer county funds. That doesn't come out of the general budget. Those officers are hired with money from investigation and seizures from big cases. That's how they're able to employ those officers there. So that's how that's actually funded. One of the things I think is important is, do the citizens want to continue to maintain the same type of services that we currently have? I can tell you 20 years ago, before the riverboat came here, we had a lot of gravel roadways. We had a lot less plow trucks. We weren't able to maintain roads in a decent manner as we are able to do now with riverboat funding. He wants to talk about the $22 million that's been spent in Lawrenceburg. The $22 million in riverboat money that had been spent on the jail and had been spent on the courthouse annex were very much needed projects. And I think we're good stewards with the taxpayers' money. And we paid for those projects out of riverboat savings without bonding them, which would have cost, if we bonded, would have cost the taxpayers an additional $7 million in interest. So I think we've been very good stewards of the money, and I don't foresee any future major projects, infrastructure projects, that are going to have to be spent out of riverboat savings, which will then allow our riverboat savings fund to increase back to where it was prior to these major projects.
Great, thank you. We're going to stick with you here, Ryan. In March, the U.S. Census Bureau released new population estimates. It showed Dearborn County lost about 0.7% of its population over the past 8 years. What, if anything, can the county council do to support growth and economic progress here in Dearborn County?
Well, I think there's a lot of things we can do, Eric. One of the favorite sayings, build it, they will come. We need to have site-ready buildings in our TIF districts. We need to work on housing, getting our children that are graduating high school, coming back from college, get them trained, get them back here in this county, being a part of our community, helping support the tax base. Residential housing, I think that's really important. I think we need to do more with less. We need to do more We need to provide more for our citizens without raising taxes.
Great, thank you. Kevin, same question. You want me to repeat it for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. In March, the U.S. Census Bureau released new population estimates. It showed Dearborn County lost 0.7% of its population over the past 8 years. What, if anything, can the county council do to support growth and economic progress in Dearborn County?
Number one, having spoke with several different redevelopment directors, won't name names for anonymity's sake. Part of the problem is that our businesses, the businesses that would like to relocate to Dearborn County, do not have housing available for their executives or some of their workers. In our particular district, District 3, we've had schools that have been on the chopping block for closure because they do not have the students that have the enrollment to get into the schools. Our district, District 3, is the prime location to put new housing in. And I'm not talking about housing that's going to bother people's areas that they feel is country and to change the facet of the area. There's ready building sites off of US 50. There's signs. It's ready to go. What we need to do is advertise, and that's where I thought that the Visitors Bureau and the Redevelopment Commission could use a little extra bump, not a whole bunch of money, but a little extra bump to make those radio advertisements, those television advertisements on TV during your Reds games up, because very, very simply, the tax rate in Hamilton County, Ohio, 1.53%. The tax rate in Dearborn County, 0.88. Why wouldn't anybody want to move to Dearborn County to get less crime and a lower tax rate and build your house? In fact, here's a radical idea. Because Boone County's tax rate is 0.86. Maybe we should drop it to 0.85 to get underneath them. Let's undercut them. Let's let it know it out there that we are hard on crime. We are a safe area. Our schools are good. In fact, here today, we have 3 South Dearborn graduates from classes 1996 to 1995 running for county positions. I was student body president my senior year. Ryan was in my class. Shane was in the class ahead of me. This is a good area. Let's promote it. Let's get the people moving in. The businesses will see that, and they will move in right along with it. Then we don't have to raise the taxes. More people to pay taxes, more people to go to our schools, the less that we have to start diving into our riverboat savings.
Great. Thank you very much. And we'll bring Mike back in here to ask the last question and to wrap things up. Again, thanks to both of you for coming in this evening.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, final question for our Dearborn County Council District 3 candidates here on the Eagle Country 99.3 and Dearborn County Chamber of Commerce candidates debates tonight. We'll start with Kevin Turner. You got 2 minutes to answer, Mr. Turner. The question: in February, we saw County Council scrap plans for a cumulative capital development fund rate increase that would have raised additional funds for the sheriff's office mainly. Still, riverboat revenues are down, a frequent complaint from residents that many county roads are in disrepair, and other infrastructure improvements are needed throughout the county. Does Dearborn County need a tax increase in order to get the funding to address these problems?
And I think I answered that with my last question. No, we do not. I think we need to double down on our trying to bring more population into our county. Our county population, as you guys stated, has dropped since the 2010 census, which is close to sentence, but it's not. And we need to bring us back into the area of growth in Indiana where we were at in 2000, 2010, back into the 90s, where we were the second fastest growing county in Indiana. If we can bring in more people to pay the taxes, we are not going to have to increase taxes. It's simple math. When you build a subdivision, the subdivision builder builds the roads. We maintain the roads. However, it's brand new. We're not going to have to worry about it. So we're going to end up having the taxes on homes that are valued at probably at our tax cap above $200,000. They're not going to be able to pay any more than the 1%. And then we're going to reap those benefits to go and send that money into road repair. If we're not going to do any more large capital improvements by taking out of the riverboat funding and making sure that those do not go to the voters, then hopefully we'll have the money there to repair those roads. I just know that every time that somebody comes in and has an idea and pushes it forward with the county council and gets the right people on board, something comes up where they want to have capital improvements. We gotta put a moratorium on capital improvements unless the voters want it. Focus on our roads. Focus on bringing people into the county.
All right, thank you, Kevin Turner. Ryan Brandt, your 2 minutes to respond, and I can repeat the question if you like.
No, sir, you're fine. Thanks, Mike. No, I do not believe that Dearborn County needs a tax increase, but let me explain why. Looking over these numbers, and I'm not going to bore you with fund numbers and certain amounts, all that stuff's public record. We have certain fund items, Cumulal Bridge, Cume Courthouse, Cume Capital Improvements, a Riverboat Savings Account, a Riverboat Contingency Account, that all have healthy balances in them, that we'll be able to maintain and continue to do the things for the county that need to be done without having to put it on the taxpayer. Dearborn County, when you talk about the roads and stuff, I just want to hit on the roads and disrepair real quick. Dearborn County is a unique layout of land. The amount of rain that we've had lately, with its valleys and hills, every one of our departments, I can say, are held to a strict budget. And I do look at and consider our needs over our wants. I don't think that we could ask for any better employees, any other elected officials that are currently running their department and staying within the means of the budget. Again, I don't foresee any major capital projects in the near future. The biggest thing is the county does go out and seek grants. All of the department heads go out and seek grants, whether it be emergency management, the highway department, our probation office, our courts, our judges, all those things. The one thing I did want to hit on here, and I'll end with this, is that we do have a good relationship now with One Dearborn for economic development, who are helping us with the use of their private money to help promote business and building and growing in and out throughout Dearborn County.
All right, thank you, Ryan. All right, for our two County Council District 3 candidates, closing statements. Ryan, you can go first. 1 minute.
Thanks, Mike. I've been a lifelong Republican. I have experience in the budgeting process since 2006, and I am the most qualified candidate. I've served my country and my county. I have supported and will continue to support riverboat sharing agreements with all municipalities. My peers on Dearborn County Council have elected me vice president on Dearborn County Council the last 2 years. I'm honored and blessed to know I have their confidence in the event I need to serve in that capacity if needed. I have served on several boards, including the Convention Visitors Bureau and the Personnel Advisory Committee. I will continue to work tirelessly for the citizens of Dearborn County. Re-elect me, re-elect Brandt on May 8th, 2018.
All right, thank you, Ryan Brandt. And Kevin Turner, 1 minute to wrap it up for us.
Okay. Vote Kevin Turner, Dearborn County Council, District 3. I believe I'll be the most energetic, the most widely experienced candidate in this election that knows areas not just from the county council point of view, but from all facets. However, experience does not exactly equal wisdom. I think that I have the wisdom to make the proper decisions with regarding the county's money. We're in tough times, and sometimes in tough times, you call on a person who is a leader. I'm not a politician. I'm a leader. I have led the fire department. I've led areas of the police department, and I will continue to lead if I'm elected to county council. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin Turner. And also thanks to Ryan Brandt. They are your two Republican candidates seeking the party nomination in the May 8th primary for Dearborn County Council District 3. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in this evening. It was great having you.
Thanks for having us. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mike, as always.
Our pleasure. Well, we're going to wrap up our broadcast here on Eagle Country 99.3. Before we go, I want to remind you of a few things and send some thanks. George G. Nathan once said, "Bad officials are elected by good citizens who do not vote." And on that note, We want you to get out and cast a ballot in the upcoming May primary election in Indiana. In the last midterm election in the state in 2014, Indiana's 28% registered voter turnout was among the worst in the U.S. We do want to mention that tonight's broadcast will be posted on our website, eaglecountryonline.com. It's probably sometime tomorrow morning. You can check it out there if you missed any part of it or want to recommend it to a friend or family member to listen to it and maybe help them become a more educated voter in Dearborn County. You can also check out local election news on the Indiana Votes 2018 page at eaglecountryonline.com. We, of course, want to thank the candidates for being with us here this evening, Ryan Brandt, Kevin Turner, and Shane McHenry. And we got to thank the Chamber of Commerce and Eric Kranz, their CEO and president, for assisting us tonight. Eric, another job well done.
Yeah, it was great, Mike. I appreciate all that you guys do to put these on, and look forward to doing another one here in August. Should it be necessary, or November, or whenever we'll do them?
Probably sometime in October.
Yeah,
I'd imagine,
October,
right?
With,
sure.
When necessary, we'll
right.
put another one together.
Right.
But thank you, and thanks for having all the folks in, and for again putting on a great public service here, like you always do.
Yeah, it's been our pleasure. And we also want to thank a few other people here at Eagle Country 99.3, our assistant news director, Travis Thayer, and our general manager, Melissa Murphy, for their roles in helping us get this put together this evening. So we hope you learned something here on Eagle Country 99.3 this evening. For Eric Kranz, I'm Mike Perleberg saying thanks for listening to the Eagle Country 99.3 and Dearborn County Chamber of Commerce Dearborn County Debates on Eagle Country 99.3 and eaglecountryonline.com.